I'm a principal at NeuroNeeds, and I'd like to welcome everyone today to a discussion with Dr. Richard Boles, who's the Chief Medical Officer at NeuroNeeds, about our three products in particular: SpectrumNeeds, EnergyNeeds, and ActivNeeds. For some of you that know or don't know, SpectrumNeeds is our product with 33 active ingredients. EnergyNeeds is another capsule-based product that we have with 40 ingredients. And then ActivNeeds is a powder like SpectrumNeeds, except it has 55 ingredients. And we're going to talk about the similarities and differences between these two products today with Dr. Boles. So, Dr. Boles, can you give us a little bit of a background? As you were the chief designer of these products. Tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, I went to UCLA Medical School. I went to pediatric residency. I practiced a little bit of general pediatrics, and I went back to school to Yale to learn genetics. I was on faculty at University of Southern California, USC, for 20 years, and an attending physician at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, particularly in metabolic or biochemical genetics, where I learned to use nutrition to treat patients with severe, even life-threatening genetic disorders. When I was there, I saw a lot of patients with neurodevelopmental conditions like autism and neurofunctional conditions like cyclic vomiting syndrome and chronic fatigue syndrome that really nobody knew what to do about and no one was treating, and I learned how to use nutrition in those patients as well. In the last decade or more, I was at Cortigen Life Sciences to learn how to read the sequencing of the DNA. I was medical director for 5 years. And then since 2017, I have been the medical and scientific, the chief officer at NeuroNeeds, one of the partners, and I'm also in a private practice that sees patients with neurofunctional and neurodevelopmental disorders by Zoom.
Okay, so let's get started. So in terms of SpectrumNeeds, 33 ingredients, EnergyNeeds, 40 ingredients, and ActivNeeds, 55 ingredients. What are the key components in each of these products? And as you describe that, maybe along the way, tell us the similarities and some of the key differences.
Well, first of all, the similarities. They're entirely dietary supplements. Everything in it is found in normal foods. They may be very bioavailable forms, and they may be at much higher doses than you would get in a typical diet. But there are no drugs, there are no chemicals per se. It is all nutrients that are found in foods, in all of the three products. They are designed principally to help with micronutrition. Micronutrition are vitamins and minerals, but there's many other things, cofactors, and that fit under micronutrition. Micronutrition is not calories or protein, and it's not the major salts, but it's pretty much everything else. It would be like vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, all of that is micronutrition. It also helps with the mitochondria. It's what we call a mitochondrial cocktail. Cocktail just means many things mixed together to help the mitochondria. The mitochondria make the vast majority of the energy, and energy is life. What life is, the difference between life and death is that life is turned on and death is turned off. Just like a computer, you pull the switch or you turn it back on again. The energy is life itself, and there's no doubt that if the mitochondria are not making energy properly, that it can affect biology in many, many different ways, and it can predispose towards lots of different conditions, including neurodevelopmental disorders and neurofunctional disorders.
Okay, so SpectrumNeeds is a powder, EnergyNeeds is a capsule. Do these two products essentially do the same thing, or are they designed to operate a little differently? And when I say that, relative to neurodevelopmental disorders like ADHD and autism?
Well, the quick answer is that SpectrumNeeds is a powder that was intended mostly for use in children, although many adults take it. EnergyNeeds is a capsule which was mostly intended for use in adults, although many children take it. There are some other differences, but 95% they're pretty much the same. So when we talk about the differences, they're subtle. Really, the only difference is one's a powder form and one's a capsule form. Now, we started with SpectrumNeeds. We started selling that in 2018. We have a lot of experience in that. SpectrumNeeds is a powder that has 33 active ingredients in it. In SpectrumNeeds, as well as in all NeuroNeeds products, there's very few inactive ingredients, and none of them are harmful in any way. There's no added sugar, there's no added color, there's no added flavors or anything. It's all natural.
Okay.
So no artificial. We like monk fruit or things, or stevia is in some of the products, but there's nothing artificial. Everything is natural. The active ingredients and the inactive ingredients. So that's one thing the same. SpectrumNeeds is mostly marketed towards kids with neurodevelopmental disorders. So autism, ADHD, intellectual disability, epilepsy, etc. But that doesn't mean it's only useful in that. It's good micronutrition, excellent micronutrition, and it's a very powerful mitochondrial cocktail to help the energy metabolism. Now, SpectrumNeeds has very high amounts of certain vitamins, particularly B vitamins in it. Those high amounts of B vitamins, B6, B9, B12, but some of the other ones as well, help many of the children with neurodevelopmental disorders to have them speak better and to improve their development. So for that reason, those very high amounts were put into those products. They won't hurt anyone. There's occasionally maybe 15% of the kids, those B vitamins make them a little bit too energetic. It makes their brain mitochondria perhaps work a little bit too fast. And with those kids that are sensitive, I say to use EnergyNeeds instead. If the kid cannot swallow them, you can open the capsule and then take the powder and flavor it to taste. But again, SpectrumNeeds is mostly marketed at children with neurodevelopmental disorders. Having said that, a lot of people with neurofunctional disorders, adults and children, will take SpectrumNeeds. Neurofunctional disorders include like cyclic vomiting syndrome, migraine, irritable bowel, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. It can go on, but all of these things are really neurofunctional disorders. So real conditions, but they're hard to diagnose and they're often not taken seriously by the medical professionals, employers, family members, etc.
Mhm.
In all of these conditions that I mentioned, neurodevelopmental and neurofunctional, there's a mitochondrial component to most of the people with those conditions. And that's why it's not snake oil. That's why these products can work for so many different conditions, because energy is central to life itself, and helping energy metabolism helps dramatically for many different things, not just for diseases, but also for lifestyle, for people that want to be more focused or more active in their lifestyle. More power, more energy is better.
Okay, so just to get into the weeds a little bit with SpectrumNeeds and EnergyNeeds, as I looked at those products, it appeared to me that SpectrumNeeds actually in the core B vitamins and creatine had a little bit higher contents than EnergyNeeds. Was that more of a focus on neural development for children rather than, say, young adults and adults?
Well, we're a small company. We can't have 20 products. So it'd be nice to have every combination possible. But, I said you make 2 products. So I tried my best to make the 2 most perfect products that I could to help as many people as possible. EnergyNeeds is marketed for adults with neurofunctional conditions, particularly chronic fatigue, but for many of the other ones that I mentioned as well. It will have fewer B vitamins in it because you don't need it for the neurofunctional disorders as much. So why pay the price that a few people don't feel as well on it? Some of the other doses are a little bit different as well because it's aimed at an adult population. But there's subtle differences. Really the major difference is that B vitamins are less. They're still high in EnergyNeeds, but they're just not as high as they were in
Yeah,
Spectrum.
and I also noticed that EnergyNeeds has more of an immuno components than SpectrumNeeds does. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, there are 7 additional ingredients in EnergyNeeds that are not in SpectrumNeeds, and they do different things. Because of neurofunctional disorders often involve neuropsychiatric conditions like anxiety and depression, there's some taurine in it that's a little bit on the calming side. There's some glycine, which, as well as carnitine that's in both products, help to detoxify mitochondria. When the mitochondria is not working as well, not only do you produce less energy, but you produce more toxins, reactive oxygen species, free radicals, acyl carnitines, organic acids. I can go on and on, but what they are is half-burn fuel, half-burn carbohydrates, half-burn fats. And so there's a little additional antioxidant to that. But for the most part, like I said, they're pretty similar.
Okay, so now to the next level, we had 33 ingredients in SpectrumNeeds, 40 in EnergyNeeds, and now we're moving up to 55 in ActivNeeds. And overall, how would you describe ActivNeeds, especially relative to SpectrumNeeds and EnergyNeeds? How are they similar, and what's the major differentiation between the two?
Well, I have to admit something. I made ActivNews for myself. I'm nearing the age of 65. I have 4 of my own children now. They're young adults, but they require me to keep working. They're in college or whatever. And I work full time, which I love, and I hope to do indefinitely. We'll see. And I don't like acting my age. I don't like feeling my age. The mitochondrial cocktail and energy needs helped dramatically, but I wanted to push that up another level as I gained another decade. So active needs is meant for people like me. You're old, but you're not old. You don't want to be old. You don't want to feel old. You don't want to think of yourself as old. I jet ski, I scuba dive, I climb mountains and everything like that. It helps me to live the life that I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. So it's 15 additional ingredients on top of the 40 in energy needs. So it's all of the mitochondrial part, all of the micronutrition, but then there's 15 additional ingredients. The main ones are citrulline and arginine. I mean, the others are important too, but those are the big ones. Those make a big difference. They kick in immediately. Citrulline goes to arginine. Arginine is used by bodybuilders. It opens up the blood vessels. What it does is it stimulates nitric oxide synthase to make more nitric oxide. That dilates blood vessels throughout the entire body. A lot of physicians are recommending arginine for older patients with cardiac disease, so they've had a heart attack or a stroke now, to open up the blood vessels. It's a safe, natural way to reduce the risk for heart attack and stroke. But it also helps these people to be more active. Bodybuilders do it because they wanted more power, more force, but mostly for better recovery, quicker recovery, to be able to exercise again by opening up the blood vessels and the muscles. It also does that in the brain and makes you more clear and focused. So the arginine and citrulline is about 3 grams per a typical daily dose recommended of ActivNeeds for 3 scoops. Now, sometimes I recommend more for certain patients, but 3 grams seems to be enough to really open it up and help it a lot. There's also herbs that are from ancient China and India. They have been used for thousands of years. I'm in California where West meets East. It's a lot of Eastern practitioners. I've gone to them myself before when I've like chronic pain that, I don't want to take an opiate or something. And a lot of the herbs they have been used for thousands of years successfully to help people with various conditions. And they're herbs to help with fatigue, to make you be able to be more active and have less fatigue, that have been given, again, for millennium. And so I added those at moderate doses, not at very high doses, to avoid toxicity. I also put in things to try to slow down the aging process, like nicotine and resveratrol. And then there's a couple other ingredients like boron and vanadium. Those are trace minerals that are needed. Most people have never heard of them or that they are needed, so I put small amounts of that as well to be able to boost the micronutrition even higher. So it's our Lamborghini product. It's what I take twice a day, and it keeps me going as if I'm young.
You're going pretty well right now. So to kind of recap, we have our SpectrumNeeds as a flavored powder with 33 ingredients. I mean, it can be taken across all ages, but it's targeted mostly for children with its higher B vitamins and creatine for neurodevelopmental support. And then EnergyNeeds, moving up to 40 ingredients, is a little less in B vitamins, but it's also targeted towards neurodevelopmental and neurofunctional. You've added an immuno component, and then there's the Lamborghini, as you've described it, ActivNeeds with 55 ingredients, citrulline and arginine in particular, giving an immediate effect to the mitochondrial boost that you've provided. I hope I've summarized this properly. Is there anything else you'd like to add to what I just said or to what you've said?
Well, there's three things I want to add to that. First of all, ActivNeeds is for anyone over 40 that doesn't want to fill their age. But I also use it over 18 for chronic fatigue syndrome. And it seems to be working well with that. The second one is that, well, it said, well, if it's for adults, why is it a powder? Because the arginine and citrulline add so much bulk that I don't think anyone wants to take 20 capsules. That's why it's a powder. And then third of all, it works immediately, particularly the arginine, the citrulline, but also some of the herbs. When I take it, I can feel it in 15 to 20 minutes. Some people take half an hour. The other products, you might feel something, but it's really a long term. It's to heal the mitochondria. That heals the cells and eventually heals the brain. For most of the products, it takes 2 to 3 months before you see significant improvement, and then will be even more improvement at 6 months.
Okay.
Now, ActivNeeds is the same thing. It has all of those ingredients. So you'll have the 2 to 3 months before you see significant improvement, but you feel something immediately as well.
Okay. Well, this is really interesting and helpful, I think, in getting people to understand the sort of subtle differences between these products. And thank you, Dr. Boles, and we'll do this again soon. Take care. Goodbye. As always, consult your physician before trying any of our products. For more information, visit neuroneeds.com. We would appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for being part of our journey.